We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marcus, can you adjust that mic too?
Here, give me your hand for a second.
Yep.
So, here you go.
I'm going to ask council members Hopkins and French to please stand and raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Cadillac, and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member according to the best of my ability.
I will. You.
Right hand, please. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Cadillac, and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of mayor according to the best of my ability.
I will. Thank you. I just want to thank my friends and family for supporting me through this ambitious idea of running for mayor. Thank you for your patience, encouragement, and for nodding politely when I talked about this sitting at dinner. Thank you to the citizens for placing your trust in me and electing me as your mayor. I am deeply grateful for the confidence you have shown and honored by the opportunity to serve this community we all care so much about. Cadillac is a remarkable place because of its people, and I am committed to work to reflect your values, your hopes, and your belief in what our city can be. Thank you for the privilege and for the faith you have placed in my leadership. And to that, we'll do roll call.
Councilmember Kalamaz.
Here.
Hopkins.
Here.
Engel.
Here.
French.
Here.
Mayor Powell.
Here. And we will move to the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
At this time, we're going to open up public comments. This.
Roll call.
Oh, sorry. Roll call, please. Sorry. Already goofed it.
Councilmember Hopkins.
Yes.
Engel.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Kalamaz.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Thank you. At this time, we'll open public comments.
If I may approach with some packets for each one of you. These are in chronological order, so if you're looking for answers,
Could you
you'll
please
find them at the end.
sign in and?
I already did that.
Could you
well,
tell us who you are for the
Yes.
purposes? Thank
I
you.
just want to, this is an opportunity for the public comment, provides the public with a chance to make a statement regarding any subject matter. Public comment is not an opportunity to necessarily ask questions or converse with the city staff, council members, or the meeting attendees. You can contact us through the Cadillac-Michigan.net website. And if we can limit the comments to 3 minutes, and any unused time may not be yielded back or given to someone else. Thank you.
Conrad Ish, Aspen Street, Cadillac, Michigan. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I provided you a fairly comprehensive packet on my first concern, and that is that Ruth Ann French violated campaign finance law and committed potentially other violations of law during her campaign to run for City Council. This is completely unacceptable, and I demand a full investigation and/or Ruth Ann French's resignation. One cannot rewind the clock and know if these violations contributed to her winning the election by the small margin she did. She is my ward council member, and as such, I expect true and proper representation. If she was ignorant as to campaign finance law, how can I or we trust her to make complex decisions that must be made by council? In both instances of filing a complaint, I first communicated with Ruth Ann French to inquire as to explanation. Both times it was a small admittance and then a denial. My call to her on October 8th before filing the second complaint obviously spurred the correction to her statement of organization completed on October 9th. After the first complaint, her campaign was still circulating door knockers without any campaign address correction, a header with Ruth Ann French herself with the address in handwritten scribble. All three were done well after the first slap on the wrist letter from the state, RE complaint number 25-065, requesting her to correct these items going forward. Please take the time to read all these documents and findings from the Michigan Bureau of Elections, both of which find that sufficient evidence has been presented to support a finding of potential violation of the MCFA, both civil infractions and misdemeanors. I've also provided evidence of federal election and USPS violations. They do not have the authority to investigate those. I chose not to forward this to the Attorney General for further action, as I was hoping either Ruth Ann French herself or counsel would do the proper thing here. Equally disturbing is the 93 days counsel couldn't act on this, even if I did move it forward after the election. That mistake of Marcus Petches is one of the many mistakes and violations of the charter and the bylaws of the LDFA. Marcus is taking credit for things many people have helped accomplish behind the scenes and using grants and funding to distract from the true facts. Marcus should be fired, not given a raise. In any other reality, he would be fired. I'm hoping this new council, minus Ruth Ann French, who should resign effective immediately, will table this issue for a thorough evaluation of Marcus Petch's performance, which by any imaginable standard should result in his termination. Or, Marcus, you could do us all a favor and resign. May I give a packet to Sandy along with my comments to be entered in the record?
Wow.
Thank you, Conrad.
Paula Myers, I do not live in the city, 11840 Hilltop Lane. I came, I wasn't expecting the public comments defaming Ruth Ann, and I'm floored, I'm shocked, absolutely shocked of anybody sitting on that dais right now. Ruth Ann is the epitome of integrity, honesty, hard work, community, dedication, involvement. I can go on and on and on. So I'm sorry, I don't know how your toes got stepped on, but obviously they did. That totally off the cuff. I'm here to support Marcus. I don't know him personally. I have met him. I know what this city has accomplished under his leadership. Nobody's perfect, we know that. But Marcus has made incredible strides in this city. So I am just one person giving my opinion on, if you look around at other towns, cities, in northern Michigan, I think we have an incredibly dedicated staff and public servants, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And Mr. Powell, I hope to get to know you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
I'm Jamie Stickles. So I have a little bit of a problem, and I was just wanting it to bring light to you guys of what happened to me in the past. So I live on a dead-end alley off of Smith Street. It literally goes between Platt Road and Sunberg, and it crosses Smith Street, and my driveway is on the dead-end part. And the reason why I say dead-end part is because the sewer plant's right there, and there's a fence. And I've had to fight with Ken Payne, argue multiple calls about plowing that, because that's my only access to the road. And we've had multiple arguments, and I told him if I have to plow it myself, the city's going to pay me because he argued with me saying, I'm not plowing your driveway. And I said, no, just drive in off the road, plow the part of the alley, push it back, and then back out. I don't give a crap. I will take care of where I park. And so for years, he did that. They were doing that. And then recently, a week ago, when it was all the rain and snow and slush, I literally could see tracks from the snowplow coming down the working part of the alley that people use to in and get in and out of their driveways, come down the alley, come across the road, and dump snow that I had to drive, snow and slush and ice that I had to drive through, and potentially ruining my car. And when I called the city to tell them about it, I'm like, hey, I don't know how to get a hold of campaign. They did this. Now I got to get my plow guy to come and plow that out so it doesn't wreck my car, or just manually shovel it. And the lady just continued to talk. She never shut up. She just talked over me, and I kept asking questions, and she just kept talking to me like I wasn't even there. And she said, well, I'll email Ken Payne. I said, oh, I've talked to Ken Payne multiple times about plowing this dead end part. And she's like, well, it's an abandoned alley, so we don't plow that. And I said, you have to, by law. If you don't plow that, or you put snow where I can't get out, that's entrapment and against the law. And she called me back, and she's like, well, I talked to the engineer, and we can make this road a driveway for you to come off of Smith Street so you don't have to use the alley, but you'll have to pay for it yourself, and you'll have to follow our expectations. And I said, I don't think so, honey. That's not going to happen. I said, we're going to continue to do what we're doing, but I want Ken Payne and his people to plow that part of the alley in the wintertime. I don't raise any fuss, no muss, leave me alone. Just plow that alley part. And she said, well, I addressed that to Ken Payne, and Ken Payne said that was splashback. And I started hysterically laughing to this lady, and I said, the problem with you, lady, and Ken Payne is I grew up on a farm. I worked on a farm for 20 plus years.
3 minutes.
Yeah, just a second. And now they're plowing it, and which after I laughed in her face, I said, that's a flat and out lie. And I said, I know the difference.
That's your 3 minutes.
I'm still talking. But anyways,
You have 3 minutes.
okay, now they're plowing my driveway. Are you going to charge me for that?
We're going to call the 3 minutes.
Okay, I just don't want you to plow my driveway. I want you to plow the alley, not my driveway too.
Thank you. It was a Jamie?
Yeah,
Thank you, Jamie.
so what's going to happen? Don't plow my driveway, plow the alley. Please, just
Thank
plow
you,
the
Jamie.
alley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carla Moore, and I live in Cadillac. I have a couple things I want to go through, and I'm just going to start with two different definitions from the dictionary on two very big words that are sometimes misunderstood. I'm going to start, the first word is discrimination, and the definition is the act of discriminating or the ability to discriminate, biased or unfair judgments or treatment. The next definition is prejudice, judgment or opinion formed without due examination of facts. Any unreasonable judgment held despite facts to the contrary. Fear and hatred for other races, religions, etc. So that is relevant because I'm talking about our farmers market. And I want to address a person who has represented herself as owning the property when it is actually owned by the city. I don't believe it's acceptable to have any person in that building or any city property that is so full of hate, okay? I can read you public posts that this person has made, and it's not specifically about one person, it's about the image that we want to portray to the public, and how a person can say, don't shop here if you're this, don't do this if you're that. I think to myself, I've seen some horrible things in my lifetime in different areas, but it kind of reminds me of like the KKK saying, you know, we don't want this, we don't want that. It's the same thing, only a little differently worded. And so I would like to maybe have something written into the contract or agreement with the folks that rent the place that they will not represent themselves as owner of the property, and they will not violate anyone's civil rights. I'd like to also ask that it's only booked out for 90 days in advance instead of a whole 12 months, so that as things change, it can be updated. And then lastly, on that issue, I think there needs to be a sign or several signs that says this market is owned by the city of Cadillac for the taxpayers, or it's owned by the taxpayers, or something to that effect. And that contact the city office phone number right on the sign so that no one ever has to guess and that no one can misrepresent the ownership of that building. Okay, that's the first
Carla,
thing.
that's our 3 minutes.
Are you serious? Oh, gosh. Okay, I'll be back.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Council. Stephen King, 604 Holly Road. I am here. I had to adjust my schedule. I have to leave right after this because of the short notice on the agenda of the item called manager adjustment, which I would point out in October of 2024, Council directed the manager at that time not to put things on the agenda last minute, not to put them with misleading titles, because the public needs notice and they need to be involved. I'm here not against Marcus Pescia tonight. I'm here for the city of Cadillac and the citizens of Cadillac who care how our money is spent and who want to help you be the best stewards for our tax dollars that you can be. This item on the agenda is not appropriate. It's part of a negotiation of a contract, which there's supposed to be a process set up through the mayor and charter that would give advance notice, give the manager an opportunity to provide council with what his asks are, and give the council an opportunity to gather information and negotiate that contract. I'm extremely disappointed that he's done this for the 5th time in history. I would like to recommend that the council consider, in looking at a process, I hope that gets tabled tonight, by the way, but to consider a process in relation to evaluating the manager and negotiating the contract to establish a citizens advisory committee. And I would be happy to donate my time on that committee to vet what requests and what salary asks are reasonable or not reasonable. It's not the committee's purpose to tell the council what to do, but hopefully it will lift some of the burden to get more information and more knowledge. Sneaking agenda items in on the first meeting of the year with a council that's brand new is inappropriate and, in my opinion, unethical. It should not be done. This council has to be able to make an educated decision as to what money spent is on behalf of the citizens. We have people who cannot afford food. We have people citizens that can't afford heat, that can't afford our utilities, that can't afford groceries. What they can't afford is a manager that's looking to get a $25,000 raise or 24% with no public input, no public notice to do that. It is wrong. Please table this tonight. Set it for an appropriate process. Mr. Pescia, please stop trying to do this without public input and public knowledge. You do it once, shame on you. You've done it 5 times. You've been directed by the council at least 3 times not to do it this way. I know Mr. Ingles has been on the council when. Thank you. I ask you all to consider that and table that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is John Wallace. I do not live in the city. However, I worked for the city for 10 years as the community development director and also the downtown director. I'm here this evening to support the request by the city manager for a wage adjustment. I just wanted to go over a few items of why I'm saying that. First, the longevity of the team. If this weren't a well-managed city, the people that work for the city wouldn't be here for such a long period of time. There have been people here 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you hardly see any turnover. That's a sign of a well-run community. The city manager has organized a team and given the instruction to do well on the grant front. The city is, through multiple departments, has recruited millions of dollars in grants, which has saved the city taxpayers countless money that would have had to come out of local taxpayers' money if that were not coming from the state or the feds for other projects. I've sat in meetings with Marcus, that's with staff and developers. I think he's always presented himself in a very professional way. And one of the things he's done is built an outside support team with the people that do our brownfield and other areas that support development. And without that team that he put together, many of the projects in town would never have moved forward. In all the meetings that I've been sitting in, he's always been promoting the city, and we're doing his best to support those that want to invest in the city. I've been in the business for 45 years in community development, and I would put him in the top 10% of all the managers I've worked with, either in the private sector or the public sector. I did take a quick look online way back in 2017. The average salary for managers in communities of 10,000 was about 12 to 15,000 above the city manager's current salary, and that goes back 8 years. I'm sure it's much higher right now. The final thing I'd like to mention is the city manager's job is not just 40 hours a week. Every night when he goes home, he's got to wonder if he's going to get a call, who it's going to be, what kind of problem it's going to be. He's asked to attend meetings and social events outside of business hours. That's either in the morning before he comes to work or after work or even on the weekends. So when you look at the salary, it's not for a 40-hour-a-week job. In closing, I'd just like to say it was very enjoyable working with Mr. Pecha, and I would support his wage adjustment. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Martin Dubrovic, 406 East Chapin. I wanted to second Mr. King's recommendations for a tabling as far as the city manager's salary. I think for the city manager's salary to be discussed with the new council, I think is just not the right time. Also, I think the Citizens Advisory Committee would be a great idea. And I would also state that I would recommend the council consider for the agenda items that the mayor, who is the moderator of the meeting, my understanding from the charter is that the mayor is leading the meeting, that the agenda items be formulated through the mayor with the help of the city manager. I believe that's done in Big Rapids. It's been very helpful there. And also the issue with the lack of lighting on South Mitchell Street, it's been 6 months. I know Marcus at the last meeting had said that he had called, but I think more needs to be done to get that going. That's been sitting there for 6 months. That's potentially hazardous. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dubravik.
Good evening, Mayor Powell and City Council. My name is Art Stevens and a resident of Cadillac as well. I do want to thank the mayor and the 2 council members that did respond back to my reach out to all 5 of you on one of the topics. And I do have to admit, I was shocked when I did see on the agenda the 2 topics. One topic is the pay raise for the mayor, and the second is the budget amendment. I noticed there's only one budget amendment, appropriation amendment on the budget, because it's a rare thing that goes on. But my biggest question of why I was shocked is, what I don't understand is, last May, this council, minus, I know the mayor wasn't here, but you did an evaluation process. And through that process, and if anybody wants to disagree, please correct me later, but you all seem to think that it was a good thing to have a consistent process. When I was addressing about it being done during the budgeting process, everybody said that made sense. My second reason I thought this was odd is right about now would be the time you'd be starting the 2026 evaluation process. And so my first question, I'm hoping these are the questions you can answer before you move on this tonight, is why isn't this being done in conjunction with an evaluation? Secondly, can any of you tonight, without having to go get calls in, can you come up with any businesses or organizations that would do something like this and then have the evaluation process after it? I was through with three different mayors, and I've seen a 4th mayor since that got a chance to develop the evaluation process. Most of it was the same, but each one was able to put their own tweak to it and do a process. And I don't understand why, since you did evaluation in May, you have this coming up again, why it's being done tonight. I did talk, and on Friday I got a nice conversation with one of the council members. They had thought through what they were told is that this might be waiting until after the election. That concerned me. I don't know if that was the purpose or not, but this is the first official meeting after the election. It has the appearance that we were holding off. We didn't want to do it last spring because that might affect, and it might become an election item. If we do a raise, let's wait until the very first official meeting after the election. It just doesn't have a good appearance of that. I would move as well that you do it through the evaluation process and allow the process to take place. On a different note, as most of you know, and some of the staff would know, when I was on council, my push was for the entire team. It was all the staff. And every year, there were years we gave...
That's our 3 minutes.
Already?
Already.
Okay.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
I'm Ryan Spalding. I live on Stimson Street. Basically, I support what Mr. King and Mr. Stevens have said about it. Really, just pushing it through at this first meeting isn't the right way to do it. Some of the numbers just don't make sense. Comparing it to the Big North Conference, a sports conference, for some reason doesn't make sense. Just to throw Traverse City into those numbers to skew it higher. Not saying that there shouldn't be a raise. Everything's more expensive, cost of living adjustments, things like that. But overall, it's something that I think should be better tabled today and be able to take up a little bit more cautious approach to it, more financially responsible. That's pretty much my opinions on it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gwen Dubravik. I'm at 406 East Chapin Street, and I definitely think it's inappropriate bringing up first meeting of the year such a decision as this. So definitely consideration a committee of people, volunteers, maybe working in tandem or giving recommendations. That's a great idea. But even if this was 6 months in deliberation, I have to say, yes, things are more expensive, but we also have to look at, is the city doing better? And I was so distressed this summer driving from north to south of town the entire season with sidewalk cracks that were full of weeds. I don't care what area you went. And the residential, you know, residents are due for their own stuff. But this is the main thoroughfare of Mitchell Street, all the way down from getting off 131 all the way up toward, you know, the entire length of the town. And it's like, that's on the city. So if that is something the city designates to the business owner right and directly in front of their property to maintain the weeds, well, then somebody needs to be on them and make it happen. Or if it is our street, city budget stuff, then it needs to happen through that. But you can't be giving a raise when we apparently can't afford or get the basic job done of just keeping the town looking neat and tidy. You know, it's so basic, and it's not being done. So there are lots of nice, wonderful new projects, but the basic tenet, you know, in Europe, they take care of what they have. Here, we always want to build something new, and then we leave everything else just to go to trash and to fall to the wayside. So it's a different perspective, but it's like, no, we need to shore up our bases first. And when we can afford and where our economy is thriving here, then maybe our citizens can afford a 25 or 24% raise for a staff member working in the city. That's a huge raise for anyone to have overnight, regardless of even well warranted. But it's like, well, the circumstance of where we are with the city and where we need to move forward and the expense to do that, those things aren't meshing up to be giving any sizable raise of such a nature, even if it was a wonderful, impeccable job. But if we raise that city up and the infrastructure is really producing and drawing people in, you know, new business people coming to town, are they going to enjoy going to lunch when they got a weed this high up their leg as they go past the sidewalk into whatever eatery? You know, no, that doesn't draw people. That doesn't impress them. That doesn't make them feel like they're at home and it's a quaint and welcoming and comfortable environment. So I think there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be worked on. So there are things moving forward in that direction, like the brick streets. Finally, I became downright strident in my complaints because that's adjacent to our property as well as others. And they're historic assets. So finally, you know, it's wonderful. They're doing a grant in that direction. That's a federal grant. That'll be a long-term process, you know, and those things take time. But it's like our basic stuff is, you know, the cityscape, you know, the weeds, you know, the grass, you know, the blight. And it's like, I'm sorry, the blight situations, it's nice for citizens to report, but I've tried using the website. It's extremely cumbersome to get some complaint about blight in there. It doesn't work.
When that's been our 3 minutes.
I have a minute left.
That 3 minutes is already up.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you, Gwen.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Congratulations and everybody. Randy Lindell, don't start my time yet, Mayor. Hold on here. Let me get this on here. Good evening. My name's Randy Lindell. I live in Cadillac. I also have property outside the city, surrounding counties, Osceola Lake, etc. I got appraiser looking at one of my houses, as a matter of fact, right now, which is neither here nor there. Now, just a couple of things. Welcome to Cadillac, Minneapolis, Michigan, a progressive unit of government that is getting kind of carried away here. We remember we have a $4 million budget surplus, and I'm just going to randomly throw off some stuff. I notice that the city comes and invites certain individuals, such as this lady, other individuals to come to council meetings and sprue word salad, as Mr. Engels knows about quite well. As a matter of fact, one of my neighbors came to a meeting when the city was about to raise the water rates 5%. And he only lives, the city asked him to come because, well, I'm not going to go any farther, but he said we had a nice dinner, and by golly, the next week he was here at a city council meeting, and he only lives in Cadillac 3 months out of the year. So, like I say, like Mr. Wallace, these other people, and my neighbor, they come as plants for the city, to put in a good word, which is okay. I appreciate that. Now, getting back to just a couple of things. You're talking about longevity with the city employees. I believe a few of these supervisors, I'm not going to name any names, have fired over 3 to 4 supervisors in the last 10 to 15 years. Over 10 city employees. That's, some guys haven't even made it over a month. They've been, I'm mad at you. This is about, that's the way that individual works. So, okay. But anyways, with the plants and all that and the progressiveness of the city and which way we're going, it's, are we blinded, confused, or are we misunderstanding the truth? I just don't understand it. With the monies available, I'm going to try to be very nice. And again, I'm going to come to the city and ask them for the availability of plowing the city sidewalks, which we have just about lost for the wintertime. I know this has been a very unique winter. It's not like 78, but some snow drifts are 3 to 4 foot high on the sidewalks. The school buses, the children have to walk in the streets because they can't walk on the sidewalks. So I wish we'd be more proactive on keeping our sidewalks and
Been our 3 minutes, right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Linda Durant, and yes, I live in town, in Kenwood Park. I come to every meeting that I'm physically able to come to. I've never been asked by any of you to show up here. I think you're all doing a great job. I'm very happy with the council we have, their new mayor, and I am very happy with our city manager. I take offense at being called a plant, and I don't think Paul is a plant. We show up to find out what's going on, and we're interested in our town, and we appreciate you people.
Thank you, Linda. Not seeing anyone else, I'm going to close public comment. And the next up is the PFAS update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Update is somewhat brief, Jeff, unless you've got some additional data to share. But as we announced last week, we were very happy to learn through Congressman Molinar's office that an additional $1.46 million has been secured through his efforts with the United States House of Representatives. It's on its way to the Senate and then off to the President's desk for signature. These funds will be joined with the $8.2 million that the state of Michigan has indicated that we will be awarded. Just a gentle reminder, not just for City Council, but for the public, we cannot initiate the process of extending any of our water infrastructure until we actually have the formal grant agreements in place. And we don't even have a draft copy of any of that yet. And so, it's certainly our expectation that we'll be able to break ground in this calendar year in 2026. But there's a lot of work that still has to happen, starting with the state and federal governments down on to us. Once we understand what the rules of the road will be, we'll certainly engage City Council with that, engage our community, that being those folks that are on private wells. We absolutely anticipate that there should be more than adequate funds to do everything that we've been talking about, and that is connecting people that are on private wells to the public infrastructure, building the public infrastructure out to where it doesn't exist, installing on behalf of people that are on the private wells, private service lines, and even turning off or closing down their private wells. And we do believe that there's also going to be available funds to help our neighbors in some of the surrounding townships with properties immediately adjacent to the city as well. I think it's Mary Street is an example, right in Herring Township is an area where there's a hotbed of PFAS there. So really exciting information to be able to share, just really slim on the actual details as of right now. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that, it was a whole team that resulted in this coming together. In fact, former council member Art Stevens helped write the grant to Congressman Molinar's office. He was here earlier this evening. That resulted in the last 1.46 million. So great community collaboration, and we're tickled to be able to really make some strides. Once we know all the ins and outs, we'll certainly communicate it. And Jeff, you had nothing to add? It's okay if you didn't. Okay, all right.
Thank you very much. Next up, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Councilmember Ingalls?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Alba?
Yes.
Hawkins?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Moving on to appointments, Mayor.
Say appointments.
The next up is appointments.
Yes.
Sorry.
She's waiting for you. Election of by written ballot, your vote, we all have little index cards that have your name on them. You will write the choice for Mayor Pro Tem. I will recode the council members that, submit the name and the name
The name and what?
for the public record. So
Okay.
I'll read your name and then the person that you voted for.
Trying to steal it. It's a nice pen. Notice I don't have one.
And you guys want to just pass them this way? I'll get it signed. Thank you. Thank you.
I get you with this. You'd be permanently marked.
Okay, Mayor Powell voted for Councilmember French. Councilmember Alabas voted for Councilmember Ingalls. Councilmember Hopkins voted for Councilmember Ingalls. Councilmember Ingalls voted for Councilmember Ingalls. And Councilmember French voted for Councilmember Ingalls.
Thank you.
Majority would be Councilmember Ingalls will serve as mayor pro tem.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. You just stay in that hot seat.
Mhm.
Moving on, they recommended to appoint
I'd make a motion to appoint Amy Katulski to the Cadillac Housing Commission for a 5-year term to expire on January 20th, 2031.
Support.
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Council is being asked to appoint someone to the Alliance for Economic Success, or AES.
If I can just add a little
Yes.
information.
Please.
It's a relative new appointment that we have. We do have an agreement in place with the Alliance for Economic Success. The Alliance for Economic Success is our regional Economic Development Corporation, or EDC for short. As a part of the agreement that we have, it allows for City Council to place a member representing the city on their local board. In the past, I believe the mayor has served in that capacity, but it could be anybody. It's not restrictive. So, could be staff as well.
Do you have information on when they meet?
They meet in the mornings generally, and I think times have ranged from maybe as early as 7 or 7:30 in the morning up until possibly as late as 9 o'clock. But I'm not 100% certain what time they have last met.
Typically monthly.
Typically monthly. Yep.
And where do they meet?
In the past, I know that they have met at the Baker College boardroom, but they may also move that meeting around a little bit as well.
I will make a nomination, or a motion to nominate the mayor, if his scheduling allows that.
I can't do 7 a.m. in the morning or 7:30.
I cannot do it. I'm on the board of review. Or no, actually, I could be on this, couldn't I? This is not a city board?
It is
Or this
not a
is
city board. And I'm happy to serve too.
I would recommend the city manager. Do you show up to these anyways, or?
I have maybe shown up to 1 or 2 on special invitation. It's been many years, but.
All right, we'll see how, this is a every 2-year or every 1-year thing?
For the appointment?
Yeah.
I would have to look.
Okay.
into it. So, and if the AES board prefers to have an elected official on it, then they'll communicate that. We have a wonderful relationship with AES, and I'll happily resign and bring it back to City Council for further discussion at your next meeting.
I'd make a motion to appoint Marcus Picha to the Alliance for Economic Success, AES Board.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Okay, next, we need to do the regular and alternate member to the Board of Review for a 1-year term to expire on January 20th, 2027.
This is another one. I've been doing this for a while. That's why I'm not on any other boards. Did you want to be an alternate, Ruth Ann? Are you on any other city boards?
No, I'm not on any other boards.
And I know we meet twice a year for those 6-hour meetings, and then maybe 2 other times for a couple more minutes. So it's not a real time-intensive thing as long as we're not doing the actual Board of Review tax reviews in March.
So you would stay on it and we just are looking for an alternate?
No, you'd be my alternate. I've not missed.
Yes.
I've not missed yet.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to be your alternate.
Well, I'm going to make the motion then to nominate myself as the regular member and to nominate Ruth Ann as the alternate member to the Board of Review for a 1-year term to expire on January 20th, 2027.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
It's being recommended to appoint Mayor Powell to the Planning Commission.
And that one is in the charter too, right? That the mayor serves on the planning commission, yeah?
That is correct.
I will make a motion to appoint Mayor Powell to the planning commission.
Support that.
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Being recommended to reappoint Larry Bontrager to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term to expire on January 21st, 2029.
I will make a motion to reappoint Larry Bontrager to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term to expire on January 21st, 2029.
Support.
Councilmember Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Being recommended to reappoint Charles Labar to the Cemetery Board for a 3-year term to expire on January 20th, 2029.
I'm on the cemetery board and work with Charles, and he does a great job. Cares about the cemetery. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Charles Labar to the cemetery board for a 3-year term to expire on January 20th, 2029.
Support.
Councilmember Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Being recommended to reappoint Mike Filiomeni to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a 3-year term to expire on January 20th, 2029.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mike Figliomi to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a 3-year term to expire on January 20th, 2029.
Second.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Being recommended to appoint T.I. Shippers to the Downtown Development Authority for a 4-year term to expire on January 20th, 2030.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint T.I. Shippers to the Downtown Development Authority for expiration through the for a 4-year term to expire on January 20th, 2030. Can you imagine that?
Support.
Crazy, huh?
Member French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Next up, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. First item under the manager's report is a request regarding consideration of adjusting fees at the Maple Hill Cemetery, and this is in correlation with the recommendations from the Maple Hill Cemetery Board. As the public packet states, the board did meet last fall and would like to add additional language to their rules as well. The last rate increase that they had was in 2021. And before I get to that, the additional language that they would like to add is the following. All foundations must exceed the base of the monument by a minimum of 2 inches on each side. They would also like to set their new rates as follows. Summer rates between April 15th and October 31st for a traditional resident at $11.50, traditional non-resident at $13.50, cremains, and that would be on a weekend on Saturdays. Cremains for a resident Monday through Friday, $350, for a non-resident $400. Cremains for a resident on Saturday, $400, and cremains for a non-resident on Saturday, $450. Foundations, including flush mount placements, at 50 cents a square inch. The packet also includes some data of comparable rates and charges at other cemeteries. Our Public Works Director is also, as I think everyone here knows, our Finance Director, and if there are any questions about the recommendations, we can certainly look at asking. Also, Councilmember Ellenboss is on the Cemetery Board as well and might be able to add any.
Don't forget, I used to run the place.
And used to run the place.
Come on.
That's right. So.
5 years between rate increases is unusual. We did it at least every 2, 3 at the most. So to wait 5 years is good for the customers. And of course, with everything going up, everything from quickcrete to wood, just everything is blown up. And this is not a bad rate hike. It puts us in line with other cemeteries that are in our, not competition, but the same quality. So I would recommend this rate increase. Long overdue, to be honest with you. Any questions? Nobody?
They wanted to add the 2 inches around.
That's the border around the monument.
What was it before?
That's come and gone. There was nothing solidified in the rules. Some people, I was there, I did it. Maybe after I left, I don't know what happened. But yeah, that just gives you your border, is what we called it. Pretty much standard operating procedure. So I would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Maple Hill Cemetery Board to adjust cemetery rates as presented.
Support.
Councilmember Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just catch up. Apologize. Next item, Mayor and members of the City Council, is a request to consider entering into an early voting agreement with Wexford County. This agreement with Wexford County is in regard to the conducting early voting for the next 2 calendar years, beginning January 1, 2026 through December 31st of 2027. And this is necessary following Proposal 2022-2 that requires a municipality to have at least 1 early voting site for statewide and federal elections. Sandy, do you want to add any more?
Just
to
that
this?
the early voting site was at the Wexford County facility on Lake Street. It's moving to the Wexford Civic Arena for more space and more parking availability.
Is this the early voting? Is it open like 4 days, 9 days before the election? Okay.
Does
State
that
and,
mean,
state and federal only. State and federal elections.
yeah, does that mean it has to be staffed out there? All those 9 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it's going to be at the Civic Center now at the Wex.
yeah.
Okay.
And voters will be notified of the change.
Was it the county's choice to move it to that venue?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to authorize the city clerk to execute an agreement with Wexford County to conduct early voting for 2 calendar years, beginning January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2027.
Second.
Councilmember Hopkins,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along, the next item is the annual request from the Cadillac Housing Commission in regard to their compensation adjustment. And as I state annually, City Council and the public may be asking why we're even having this conversation, why we're involved in it. The Housing Commission does operate autonomously from the city. However, per how the Housing Commission was established, per law, it is up to the City Council to fix and set their compensation. And the monies are not coming from the city's coffers, they are coming from the Housing Commission's coffers. The packet includes a copy of the resolution from their board with the recommendation of a 3% adjustment to specific employees. And my recommendation this evening would be to approve that accordingly.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve the compensation change request from the Cadillac Housing Commission as presented.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Allenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item for consideration is in regard to tree removal services. The city did receive several bids for those services, and we also received an urban and community forestry grant from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. A portion of those grant funds are for the removal of dead, dying, diseased, or dangerous trees in the Kenwood Park area. And 15 bids came in, which is kind of interesting to see. You know, there are times when, you know, we may receive just one bid or two bids for any number of things, but in this instance, we did receive 15 bids. The recommendation this evening is to go with the lowest bid, which is Joe's Tree Service, in an amount of $19,818. Funds are available in our general fund, and they will be reimbursed through the grant funds received.
They all bid the same job, right? Because that's a huge job.
I watched Joe's take down a tree in my front yard and was very impressed. They do a great job.
I was going to just ask really quick, Owen, do you have anything you want to add to that? Did I miss anything or clarify anything?
I would just add that we saw this same discrepancy when we did a bid for the cemetery for this particular service, tree removal. I think there's some, because we post all our bids on a statewide site, I think there's some out-of-town companies that may just say, hey, we'll drive up there and do it if they can't find anybody else, but it's gonna, you know, we're gonna make money on it. So I think that's what happens, and we have a number of local contractors. Wow. Yep.
Well, so, Owen, I'm curious, are these trees already designated, or
They are, yep, they're all marked.
They're all marked, okay. So, and the works time span, is it like over the course of the next year? Is there a time frame on that?
It should be here in the next couple of months. Yep, depending on weather, when they can get out there and get it done. Yep. And a big part of the grant was for actually tree planting, but we do have a number of trees that need to come down, and they were able to allocate some funds to do that for trees in this condition, but we'll be planting more trees than we take down.
Are these mostly tree lawn dead trees?
These trees here are actually in Kenwood Park.
Oh, that's for the Kenwood Park.
Yep.
Okay. Why are we cutting them down?
Because they are the 4 Ds.
Put you on the spot.
Dead, dying, diseased, and dangerous. That's how we identify.
Tough to argue with that, Owen.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
You handcuffed me with that. I got no answer. I'd make a motion to award the tree removal services project to Joe's Tree Service in the amount of $19,818.
Support.
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Alabas,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Engels,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Great. Next item, and thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The next item is in regard to the bids and a recommendation for a compact tractor purchase. This would be specifically under the Utilities Department and for our water operations. The purpose of the tractor will be primarily to maintain the grounds at the Water Department headquarters, move dirt, snow, various inventory, and other parts around the facilities. 9 bids were received. The 2 lowest, however, did not fully meet the required specifications related to fuel capacity and loader lift requirements, which is the most important. And the recommended vendor that did meet those requirements then happens to also be the lowest bidder of those that were left in the pack. And so the recommended action this evening is for the purchase of a 2025 Bobcat CT 2025 compact tractor awarded to Ellen's Equipment in the amount of $22,316.21. Funds are available in our water and sewer fund.
Is it replacing one or?
Jeff, would you like to address?
Kind of, sort of. There was a compact tractor that we moved over from wastewater over to water, but it was it was replaced at wastewater. So obviously this was an old one that we couldn't trade in, and that has subsequently broke at the new water headquarters. So that's why I said kind of, sort of. So what they had did break, but that was a used one already. So
What's going to happen with the old one?
we'll probably junk it. So.
Do we still have the auction every year, Jeff?
Not every year. I think we're collecting items to auction. We have a bunch currently, so
That could be in that group then.
that could be in that group, yep.
Auctioned off. That would,
Believe what
yeah,
people
seemed
buy.
like-
I'm sure.
Yeah. Seemed like it might have some value yet, but.
Well, I will make a motion to award the purchase of a 2025 Bobcat CT 2025 compact tractor to Ellen's Equipment in the amount of $22,316.21.
Second.
Councilmember Allenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. Our next item is regarding bids and a recommendation for the purchase of portable radios for our fire department. As we had mentioned late last year, very proud that we had received a grant in the amount of $202,000 through the Department of Homeland Security's Assistance to Firefighters program. The purchase of the portable radios and the affiliated accessories will all be essentially funded through that, other than a 5% local match that's required. So again, the maximum grant award then of the 202 actually comes down to $192,380.95. 3 bids were received, with the recommendation from the fire department to go with AMK Services LLC in the amount of $167,314. They're also the lowest bidder. After verifying accordingly with the grant program, we are also looking at using $10,000 from that grant that'll be left over because it came in under to purchase additional consumable radio accessories, batteries. I'm not sure if chargers are also a part of that, but other components to the radio that don't last the lifespan of the radio itself. And so the recommended action this evening would be for the City Council to award the purchase of the portable radios to AMK Services for $167,314 and include up to an additional $10,000 in approved accessories from AMK Services. The total expenditures will not exceed the federal award of $202,000, and funds are available in our general fund accordingly. We do have members of our fire department here, as well as our public safety director and finance director, if there's any questions anyone may have.
Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
No brainer. How many radios is it? Sorry.
How many-
Oh, I'm sorry, how many radios?
20.
20.
Yep.
These are all handhold remote radios?
Yes, portables.
Well, I'd make a motion to award the purchase of portable radios to AMK Services in the amount of $167,314 and to include up to an additional $10,000 approved accessories from AMK Services.
Support.
Councilmember Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Allenboss?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Okay. As we're nearing the end, next item is a recommendation regarding the approval of entering into an agreement with our Downtown Development Authority for management of Cadillac Commons. And I just wanted to preface all of this by trying to draw City Council back for just a hot moment to what we have in terms of our public assets. And what we have, honestly, is just incredible. You know, the Cadillac Commons area is a space in town between the lake on the west end and our downtown on the east end, and it is home to some of what I think are the most remarkable publicly funded facilities in the entire state. It's home to the Rotary Performing Arts Pavilion at Cadillac Commons, the White Pine Trailhead at Cadillac Commons, the Market at Cadillac Commons, the Plaza at Cadillac Commons, and the City Park at Cadillac Commons. Several of which all came from nothing within the span of I would just say 10 years or less. The city simply has looked at those spaces as nothing other than spaces available for people to reserve and rent, whether it's for a public event or activity like the Freedom Festival or the Craft Beer Festival or the art show, or a private event like a wedding or even a reception or a retirement party or a birthday or graduation party. We haven't really taken that next step in evolution of managing those facilities. So now I'm going to do a hard break and fast forward to where we are today. Well, where we are today is we have structurally in our organization redid things with our Downtown Development Authority, or DDA. We have broken apart the shared position of DDA director with our Community Development Director position, created a standalone Downtown Development Authority position that also is our Main Street Program Manager. Why am I saying all of this? Well, I'm saying all this because the area of focus for that position and that job and for that authority board is where Cadillac Commons is located. And this next evolution that we're asking City Council to join with the DDA in moving this forward would be to enter into essentially an agreement that slides the operations of those facilities. They're still city assets, that's not going anywhere, but just slides the operations of those facilities to the responsibility of the DDA and subsequently the DDA director / Main Street Program Manager. Our DDA director, Main Street Program Manager, Travis Owens, is here this evening. I would like him to come up for just a minute and maybe provide a summary. I saw Travis somewhere. There he is, right there. A summary of the council communication that's in your packet. Our DDA chairperson, Stephen Barnes, is also here this evening. Stephen is also a proprietor of Simply Delightful Downtown. And the DDA has already moved on this item in terms of their support. And so this is now the next step. This has also already gone through legal analysis. And this was something that we had been talking about with City Council since, I think, last fall. So we're sort of at that next and last step. Last but not least, when I mentioned management of the facilities, that would also include vis-a-vis through this agreement, the responsibility of the DDA to establish their rules and rates and whatnot, subject for reservations, and take that burden away essentially from this body. So, Travis, you're up.
I don't know what's left to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what's left to say. No, I was here in front of City Council before you were here, Mayor. Welcome. And we talked about the facilities management update, provided an update at that point. That was October 20th, and we shared the overview with those talking points. I have those again tonight, but essentially the DDA has been looking to manage these spaces. We have over $1 million investment in the space, something that we're still working on. And the community also invested in the development of the commons. It's something we recognize as an amazing community asset and something that we can manage effectively. And with the DDA, the way that we're structured, essentially any revenue that we bring in from these rentals, once we bring them up to, essentially 2026 rate, we can turn back into investment in downtown. And we can't do anything else with it. So we're talking about every dollar stays downtown to make it a better place for our citizens to live, work, and visit. And that's the intent. We have those goals outlined in that policy. The DDA has looked at this management agreement. It has been reviewed by legal, and they approved it at our last meeting. So pending council's vote tonight, we would take over the management to make sure that we can prioritize community use of the space, including for community events, local nonprofits, and residents, maximize the utilization of that space to ensure the public benefit, and then establish a transparent rate structure reflecting the quality of the facility and its amenities. We just upgraded that market building to the tune of
800-some thousand.
Right, overhead doors, bathrooms, right? It's a really remarkable facility. Protect access for designated priority events that we have in the community, and then we are looking at other communities to incorporate those best practices. So I feel with my position in place, we're really in a position to take on the management of this space, and appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Don't go too far.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, I do too.
One of my questions, so you talk about once the new rates have been set, the rental fees, and if there is any profit or accounting, I guess you'd say, would those accounts from those rentals be going into account that would stay in the commons account as opposed to the downtown, the DDA itself?
So my understanding is that all exists in the DDA boundary, which includes the commons. So it would stay in a fund that is for downtown, the Downtown Development Authority, as opposed to being a smaller circle drawn around the commons.
Well, the reason I'm questioning it is because I see the DDA as more private businesses, and of course the commons is all public infrastructure, and so I'm just curious how you might keep those funds separate.
So the ability for the Downtown Development Authority to spend money has to be in line with the tax increment financing plan that's in place with the Downtown Development Authority, as well as in line with any legal requirements. And so the infrastructure that the Downtown Development Authority would be improving, replacing, or amenity spaces that could be beautified, whether it's new planter baskets or other types of things. All of that and the expenditure of those funds would all be for public purposes, not to enhance a private business or entity.
And to just dial it in a little bit closer there, zoom in a little bit, the tax increment financing plan includes goals like the funds could be used to support parking lot repairs and upgrades, streetscape beautification and new signage, curb and gutter improvements, rehabilitation of older commercial buildings. So we're talking about public infrastructure still that can be improved within the DDA with that fund.
If I remember correctly, last October you were going to have pricing and everything. Has that already happened?
So we're waiting on approval from the DDA board of a reservation policy. So the management agreement, step one, to give us the authority, then the DDA board with the authority would vote to approve a reservation policy, and that reservation policy would include a rate table. So no, it has not happened yet, Mayor.
And I would like to say, too, the DDA board, much like we did tonight with former Mayor Shippers, with her 4-year term, is nominated and approved by council. Those board positions are definitely important. It's a 10-person board.
It is.
10-person board. Those are the people who made the decision to hire Travis. Those are the people that make the decisions about, and correct me if I'm wrong, about the sidewalks downtown as well that Gwen had brought up. So,
and I'd like to read the paragraph just to clarify for the taxpayers and everybody out there in TV land. The purpose of this agreement is to formalize the Downtown Development Authority as an entity responsible for management, scheduling, marketing, and administration of the Cadillac Commons, including managing street closures and parking. The city retains responsibility for general maintenance and infrastructure. So the city park crew will still be there to clean up and do maintenance.
If I may, just jump in. One good example of what that means in sort of reality would be, let's say that there's an event happening at the Performing Arts Pavilion that has requested that Lake Street be shut down. Typically, that would have to come before City Council. That would no longer come before City Council. Closures on Mitchell Street or banners on Mitchell Street still has to come before City Council because Mitchell Street's a state road, and under state requirements, it requires the City Council to approve it first before they'll consider it.
And that was Harris Street too.
Here, right. So if there was a closure request for Harris Street or Lake Street, or does it go up to Chapin? I don't remember if it did.
Cass, Harris does not include Chapin.
Okay. So like Cass, Harris, and Lake, requests that would typically come here, they would just go through the DDA process.
I was curious about that.
Yep.
And to follow up on the mayor's question, when those rates get approved, will you be bringing that before City Council as well?
So with this management agreement, that approval would come from the DDA. So you essentially use the agreement to grant us operational authority. My board would make the decision on the rate table. I'd be happy to come back and provide an update, though, if you'd like me to.
And Councilmember, we'll certainly publish that
Yeah.
on our website
Okay,
and whatnot.
all right.
I mean, it's.
Well, all right,
yeah.
it needs to be public. I understand we don't have any say in the matter once the DDA sets the new rates, correct? But it would, as this is such a public forum for the public to understand it, it might not be a bad thing to just
We can
have
bring
as
it up as an
informational
update
thing.
once they have
Yeah,
their final
sure.
documents and their process in place.
Great.
Be happy to have Travis come and do it as a spotlight, maybe.
Sure.
That'd be nice, because it was October, I think it was that meeting that
Yes.
they were gonna start looking at rates.
Right.
Yep.
And we've done a lot of research on rates, just at this time waiting for the board to review, approve, and set a rate table, so we'll know what those will look like.
Thanks, Travis.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a good idea, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with the DDA for management of the Cadillac Commons.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Ellenboss,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
And I have one more thing too, because I'd asked this before, and I know they don't always meet in the same place, but I think the DDA meetings, it'd be nice to try to make some steps towards getting them online as well. I think there's a lot of important stuff that comes out of those meetings. I know they don't always meet in the same place.
Well, they have been now meeting. in the
They do now meet here before.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Well, then there shouldn't be any reason that we can't move towards
Yeah, we can get them streamed and recorded.
putting them online, because I'd certainly be interested
idea.
to start watching those a little bit more closely.
Great
So.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting all of the documentation together. Okay, next item, city manager adjustment. I think before city council jumps in, I just wanted to clear the air just for a quick minute here, and advise publicly that one, nothing was done at short notice or sneakily or inappropriately. It's been approximately 2.5 to 3 fiscal years since the compensation adjustment was last considered, or I should say that was not last considered, but was actually implemented. City Council, just again to provide a little clarification, City Council last year, when going through the evaluation process, that board specifically, to my recollection, stated that there was a desire to sort of separate the evaluation process from the compensation process, and that's why it didn't happen back then, which would have been, was it last spring or fall when it was last talked about with the city council. So in years past, it did happen at the same time, where the evaluation and the compensation request happened concurrently. The information packet, the public agenda packet, includes all of the data that I have come together with, as well as my request. Given the period of time that has transpired since my last cost of living adjustment versus today, decided to do somewhat of a deeper dive to sort of see where I was relative to my counterparts throughout our region and area. And, you know, I got vast majority of all the source data from the Michigan Municipal League, and then I basically crunched it 5 times, including, as a member of the public mentioned, by just looking at those communities within the Big North Conference, knowing that there is some relative understanding, especially by those folks in the community, what the Big North Conference is. But nevertheless, that wasn't the only way I looked at it. I looked at it about 5 different ways, just trying to get somewhat of an idea, of a benchmark as to where the average is. And then the 6th way, if you would call it that, I looked at what the average of all the averages were and came up with another number. My desire certainly would be to just simply be made average. What does that do? Well, it puts this position, back in the pack, back in the hunt. If, God forbid, I'm hit by a bus tomorrow, and City of Cadillac is looking at replacing my position. You know, even if you're not looking at bringing in a veteran city manager, I currently have over 16 years experience in the position, but even if you were looking at somebody new to the job, you know, you're still probably going to be hard pressed to find somebody that's not, you know, within the sort of pack of those averages. As you can see in all the data, I think it ranges around 14+% up to 24%, so it's pretty wide and varied. And that's why, again, I tried to come up with a few areas that personally and preferably I wish City Council to focus on. There are also a couple of areas that I had asked City Council to look at in terms of clarifications in my employment agreement. One is in regard to earned vacation and sick leave. I will tell you that when I put it together, I thought it was in parity with a couple of department heads that currently have the benefit. I was wrong after further getting the information out, and I did provide that clarification to council earlier today, what that looks like. And basically it's the ability of not paying out for vacation time other than what's already on the books, but there is a payout provision for sick leave. It's capped at 180 days, thank you. And then it's further broken out where 75% of the first 120 days gets paid out, 50% of the following 60 days gets paid out, and then of that total value, 25% of it gets diverted into an employee health savings account, and then the rest is payable. That's how the current program works. It's only in place for, I believe, no more than 3 employees currently. I'm not one of those 3, which is why I was requesting the consideration. So I apologize that my original request was different. But certainly this is opportunity for City Council to discuss, and just want to say that I'm not looking at moving on or going anywhere. Cadillac is my home. I've committed quite a number of years to this community. I love serving this community and believe that we have got some really exciting projects still on the horizon and a lot of good work to do. And frankly, thank City Council in advance of any consideration that you're willing to provide. So, thank you. And I'll shut up.
Didn't you have something to do with the Cobra too, you were asking?
Yes, so, yeah, yes, Cobra is for, my request is Cobra for 12 months. Currently, all employees are at 6 months. It was another request.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, we get into the meat of the business now. So, do we want to handle this one topic at a time, start with his raise, and then do the earned vacation and the Cobra?
Yeah.
That seems to make the most sense to me.
And I'm gonna just step back unless you need me. So.
Better put your earplugs on. Okay.
Left them in the office.
I'll go first if you don't mind.
Sure.
Marcus' current pay is at $120,200. His last raise was 2023. Now, I worked for the city. I was a non-union foreman, same as superintendents and the non-union people that work in the complex over there. Our pay raise was based on what the union got. They get 3%, I got 3%. So, 24, the union got 4%, 25, the union got 3.5, 26, the union got 3.5. So that would put it at 11%, and from 120,200 to 134,000. I'm not saying where I'm at. I'm just giving you this as food for thought. So if whoever wants to step up next and clarify some things or give me your opinion, please do.
You said that 11% was what, 130?
What?
The increase was 134?
134, bring him up to 134.
Well, and in this,
And I'm sorry, and one thing I'd like to clarify is negotiations 101. As I've seen people getting irate all over the place, my God, he's asking for 20. Negotiations 101. You start out here, we offer you a dime, and you meet in the middle somewhere. So the idea of probably getting a 24% raise could have been a bit, I don't know the right word for that. So that's it. Ruth Ann?
yeah, well, I think Mark has explained, he kind of did the deep dive to find the averages of the area of his peers, which produced these much higher numbers than certainly that the public is reacting to, and even us here as we try and make this decision on giving some parity to our city manager and his position that would be in keeping at a minimum the 11% that you mentioned, which all the other city staff received over the last 3 years, the 3 fiscal years, because we're halfway through the 3rd fiscal year, 2026, which started July 1st. So, and he has not received a raise in any of that time. And as we all know, the crunch of the economy and inflation has been pretty steep. So I would not be opposed at all to grant the 11% increase to his base salary to allow for that parity to exist between he and his staff and the rest of the city employees. So
I about 4 years ago, maybe even 5, when I first came on here, I also thought the man was grossly overpaid. So I went online and picked out city managers in towns our size and found out only one at that time, one that made less than him, and that was out of 15.
Yeah.
So the idea, and I try to placate or tell people that he isn't overpaid. That's a lot of money for Cadillac. I mean, we keep that in perspective. This is my hometown. I'm very familiar with it. But compared to other cities our size, the manager in Ionia makes over 140. So, and I'll add that too.
Okay.
Next.
And with that, well, I'll just finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
With that being said, if Marcus were to leave the position for whatever reason, to look at somebody new coming in, now this is kind of reiterating what you already said, but I agree, we would not be able to find a replacement for Marcus with his 16 years experience with a new person coming in, whether they were an experienced city manager or somebody newly in the game, but they would all be new to this city, and he has such vast historic knowledge of everything, all of these projects that we've got pending coming up. So that in itself is worth, I think, warranting at a minimum, at least that
I think the one
cost
thing
of
that
living raises that have already been
people
given
need to remember is these people don't grow on trees. You want somebody better than Marcus. You want someone else to come in here. You're going to pay a lot more than what he's making.
Right.
I can guarantee you. You can find somebody cheaper. Ask Traverse City. They're on their 4th city manager.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're going to be any good.
Yeah.
Ask Traverse City.
Anybody else?
I would say, yeah, looking at the position, because I did kind of the same thing. I kind of looked at those numbers, and yes, he definitely is at the low end of comparable size cities. So I agree that something needs to happen there. I'm not saying that number's 11% at this point, but I do see where that needs to be brought up. The other side to it is, yeah, we've got 16 years of experience with Marcus. He kind of knows the area, what's going on, the culture. So those things I think we need to take into account. I mean, is he perfect? Nobody's perfect, but I tend to be one, I tend to reward effort, because none of us are perfect. But I think if you're putting that effort towards moving things in the right direction, I think that's kind of what I try to look at. So.
I'd like to talk about a couple things. The first, people are mentioning the evaluation process and how we're separating those two, as Marcus talked to. The evaluation process, if you've been following the council, has become a tool that was no longer useful. The criticism was being used in a way it shouldn't have been. I don't think people were able to be open and honest with the city manager and his performance. So the evaluation part, we wanted not to come with a raise attached to it, because when it comes to a raise and paying the city manager more, that's a very public discussion. That's committing more resources to the city manager. That's us justifying the expense. And there are many reasons you can ask for a raise, because your sale numbers are good. Maybe it's because you got a good evaluation. Maybe it's because you got a big grant. Maybe it's because you priced out the market and found out that you were underpaid. You don't need to have all four of those things. You don't even need to have one of those things. So I think, as we were talking about the evaluation versus the raise, we wanted those separate. We did want them listed clearly on the agenda. We wanted them to be public, for the paper to be notified, for it to be covered. It did not need to be a long, drawn out thing with multiple weeks of feedback. Now, we've not given the city manager a raise in 2.5 years. Some of that for good reason, some of that for not so good reason. But I do think now is the appropriate time to consider it, and I'm definitely in support of a compensation adjustment. I think the biggest one we ever did may have gotten closer to 5%, and it was a year, again, where I did a lot of research and found, along with the rest of the council, that the position was just underpaid relative to the surrounding areas. We've given a 4% raise. I think we usually give 2.5 and 3s. There have been some years where we've given a smaller raise and given a one-time bonus to go along with it. I understand that this isn't, we have, with the grants that we've got, with you not having a raise for 2.5 years, I understand the circumstances around asking for a larger number, and I could certainly justify putting two of those numbers together, but that still leaves me a long way, from the 10%, or the 14% or the 24%. I'd like to see it closer to 6 or 7. Do you have anything you want to say?
I did some research, and I could not access MML, the survey data. I did go into the govsalaries.com, and it's some of the data that you're comparing to other communities that have a much larger employee count as well. It's unclear if the MML salary survey data is reporting true base salary versus base plus benefits. One of the sites I looked on there and Googled you, and it said that your salary is $134,849. Is that base? Is that with benefits? So the data that is provided, I don't agree with.
With benefits, it'd be a lot more than 134. Yeah.
So some of these figures I don't agree with my own research. After careful review of your request, including the compensation analysis and proposed updates to the employment agreement, I want to assure you that I recognize the alleged compensation gap that you highlighted. This consideration deserves thoughtful, long-term evaluation, not just a weekend review for me, since this is brand spanking new. It said you guys said that you talked about it last year and you wanted to separate the two. It did.
Yeah, that was one of a public discussion that we had on council. Okay. Yes.
Did that get passed, or
that was it? They never were linked because anything was passed.
Okay. With the full 28, even the lower percentage, I have a hard time agreeing with that percentage because we have a community that is so divided, and I'm not seeing or have I saw what you're doing to rectify that. Like Scott had said, he doesn't reward bad behavior. You reward the good behavior. Lost my train of thought. Why are we requesting this now when we are so divided in the community? With the multiple different websites, with the information not being completely clear, I can't make a decision on this yet. I think it has to be part of the evaluation. I think it's kind of circumventing the review process at that point. And so I do want to say no to anything right now until we can get further clarification on salaries when we can do a true analysis around the county, the surrounding counties, for the same job.
Man hasn't had a raise in 2.5 years, and you're going to make him wait. I mean, we're pretty much on top of this. You said you've been watching the meetings.
Sure.
I asked you, and yet you're not ready to make a decision. When
I'm
will
not.
you be ready to make a decision?
I'm not. When
will you be ready to make a decision?
When this data is updated.
I'd like to make a motion to give Marcus Picha a 9% raise, not retroactive.
I'll second it. Councilmember French? Yes. Ellenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
No.
Okay, let's jump into number 2. Earned vacation and sick leave. I think I can clarify this for the people there and my fellow council members and mayor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marcus. When I retired from the city, the sick days I had were paid out. I received a cash payment, and the other half went into a medical I could use for bills. And I think that's what you're getting at, Marcus. You would like to have that.
If I can just clarify.
Yeah, please.
There was a point in time where that was a benefit available to all the non-union staff.
Yep.
That benefit was turned off prior to me starting with the city. There's still a few city employees that have that benefit. Of those, half of them happen to be my department heads.
Yep.
Only half. The other half don't have it. And looking at my overall compensation, I thought I would ask to have parity with them on that benefit. The way that that benefit works is that it's capped at 180 days. Of the 180-day cap, the payout is 75% of the first 120 days, 50% of the next 60 days, and then of that value, 25% of it gets diverted into a health care savings plan account to be used for medical related expenses.
Yeah.
The other portion is quote unquote cash. That's
Right,
the updated request. That's different than what was in the packet. What was in the packet was a request of being able to pull out any unused earned vacation or sick time, which is what I've basically withdrawn from.
So,
And go ahead.
can you quickly, too, in preparation for this conversation, you sent us your original agreement from 2011 and then all the updates. In 2011, so your current compensation package I think as it was written, when you were hired, right, you started off with 6 months pay if you were terminated or quit,
So.
and then it increased.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so thank you, Councilmember. My original agreement was, I want to say it was I started in 2009, so that would have been back then, but my termination or my severance package is up to, it's capped at a year. I started at 6 months, and then after, I think it was 3 years or 2 years on the job, 1 additional month of severance was added into the total amount, capped at 12 months.
Capped at 12 months.
And given my time here, I've met that obligation.
And that's the severance package that you negotiated in 2011.
No,
Or in 2000. Oh, but did you have the severance one in 2009 as well?
Yeah,
Part
yeah,
of it? Okay.
yeah.
And that's what I think, that's why I'm not necessarily in favor in any of the extra termination severance stuff. Is because, 1 year salary that we just increased that benefit tonight, by giving you a raise. I think that is a well negotiated termination and severance package. So I would not be in favor of changing those things.
I would agree with that totally.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
Robert.
And I'm fine with that as well.
Okay. My only request for consideration or perhaps reconsideration is, and I think Councilmember Engels, you did the math, that if I had been kept along receiving regular cost of living adjustments, it would have been approximately 11% over the last fiscal years, and it wouldn't have been delayed in a sense. And so, please, I'm humbled by City Council, by everyone's conversation and thoughts, very thoughtful. But by it not being retroactive and also being a couple of percent less, would it be appropriate to ask Council to reconsider the retroactivity of any of it? Or maybe not, or just leave that out there. So, or perhaps revisit it later in the year or something.
Well,
I'm not for retroactive.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't do retroactive, but I would like to have a conversation about all of these amendments to your contract that we've all seen that have been negotiated at various times throughout the year, 7 different months in any
Years.
1 year.
Right.
Yes.
7 different years.
Yeah, and that seems a little, I don't know, inconsistent to me, and I'm just wondering if council would like to entertain the idea of coming up with some kind of calendar or schedule where we are visiting Marcus's contract negotiation in a more consistent manner. And in relation to the budget, after the budget has been set up, and come up with a system that we could perhaps do more of a negotiation amongst ourselves, and then with Marcus, and then bring it to the public, giving not only ourselves notice of a negotiation process, but also the public notice that we're working on this, and then bring it into a more public forum.
Can you?
Does charter allow for?
Well, I wanted,
any of
can
this?
Marcus briefly describe how it went? For several years, the process was the same when you met with the mayor pro tem.
Yeah.
Can you describe
so-
describe that?
Yes,
Because we did the
and-
evaluation and then we did the ask.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
maybe
so
that's
this might be a little confounding, but I don't mean it to be, because for my tenure here as city manager, the process was sort of adjoined at the hip. And what I mean by that is that my evaluation process, while sometimes didn't exactly happen in spring, everything was retro essentially to May. That tended to be when we did things. We being myself and the mayor would collaborate with other council members on running the evaluation process in terms of getting feedback and input, and then meeting with me privately, and at times also bringing the mayor pro tem along. There's nothing in the charter, there is no ordinance requirement, there's no legal requirement that anybody come along. In fact, even my agreement just simply talks about the mayor providing me with feedback and then providing me with the opportunity to provide my own feedback to city council as well. At that same time that the evaluation was occurring, I would also bring forward whatever request for consideration on a compensation basis or benefit basis I wanted council to take a look at. And essentially, other than the last two to 3 years, city council would conduct my evaluation, report out to me in a closed session, allow me to provide feedback. There was then a public reporting out by the mayor of a summary of the evaluation itself. And then in a public format, like what we're doing tonight, would be any conversation or dialogue regarding compensation and benefits. That part of the equation has to be public. It's not a closed session qualified item. So, you know, I think well before my time here, there may have been a two-member subcommittee of the city council that frankly negotiated, I hate to use that word, but negotiated compensation and whatnot with the manager at the time. And I was not a part of the meeting, so I do not know how that was actually then reported out publicly. I can say that what we do here is very open, very public. None of it's behind, you know, closed doors at all, other than the city council having the opportunity to brief me in that closed session. And as I mentioned, prior to that closed session, the mayor, as well as Mayor Pro Tem, typically would come and, you know, have a cup of coffee with me and talk to me about where things are at and you know, the summary. So I know what the closed session is like. Does that answer the question you were looking for,
Yeah,
Councilmember?
I think that process used to be, used to go one way. In the last 2 years, it was not going that
I
way.
never liked it. I never liked the idea of the mayor and the mayor pro tem sitting down with the city manager away from council, discussing his work, and then coming to the council and debating his race. And I voiced it.
And that's part of why that process stopped as well.
That didn't work for me. And we all can agree that the entire process needs to be revamped. You know, something needs to be done.
And I plan on sending out some emails to all of us so we can collaborate
'Cause usually
to come up with an idea.
We're going to be doing this again in May.
Right.
I want to get back on track.
Yes.
We used to be, the mayor would get the paperwork out to us in May.
May, yep.
We get it back to you in June. First date in July, we'd vote on a raise. Let's get back on schedule. We can do that. I know our mayor can do it.
Yes, I'd be interested in what you have to say, David, to provide some direction on some schedule as we're talking about.
Process.
Oh,
and the process.
yeah, we can all be included in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody want to discuss the Cobra? I'm not big on that, increasing to 12 months.
I am currently at the 6 months.
And then I think, you know, the last one, as, you know, changing the meeting language from may to shall, you know, I think we do have a duty to, as the executive board, to review the executive. That process was broke and was not useful, and I don't feel like we lost anything by skipping it the last 2 years. But we will gain a lot by putting it back into place with some structure, so.
Agreed?
Yeah, I agree.
I do think that it should have been happening because, like I said, we are such a divided community because of Mr. Pesha not fulfilling some of the obligations, like some of these grants. We don't even have the money yet. We don't even know the terms of them yet. So without having accurate data, I don't agree with, but I mean, it's already passed, but.
Well, I'd like to counter your comment about the division in the community being Mr. Pesch's fault. Not that I want to throw blame any place, but there's plenty of blame to go around. When you've got community upheaval and you've got targets that the community chooses to target, you can't necessarily blame the target. That's kind of how I feel about our unfortunate situation of being having a divided community. I'm all for trying to heal our community.
Absolutely.
To help them see that we are here on their behalf, all of us at this table, including Marcus, on their behalf. But unfortunately, there's situations in the general public that, you know, involving social media and all kinds of things where things get where there's misinformation and misunderstanding and all of that. And so I wouldn't want to lay that blame at anybody's feet. Just saying.
Always starts at the top, and it looks like we're the top, and then it becomes.
Well,
I would agree to that. Yeah, okay, let's give a big sigh and continue.
okay.
Okay, Mayor, members of the City Council, one, thank you, and two, we are on to the next section of the agenda, which is the introduction of ordinances. Mayor, if I may continue?
Yes, I lost my spot.
No, that's right. I have to get to mine as well. Give me a minute.
The introduction of ordinances?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do have a handful of them. The first one, and actually before I say any of it, the handful of them are all for the purposes of setting a public hearing. So we are not getting into necessarily the weeds of these items. So the first one this evening is a request to adopt a resolution to introduce an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to conditionally rezone property at 407 East Chapin Street and to set a public hearing for February 2nd, 2026. The property at Chapin Street has been before the Planning Commission on several instances, and this is regarding their desire to turn it into a bed and breakfast, and is coming at the recommendation of the commission.
I'd make a motion to adopt the resolution to introduce ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to conditionally rezone property 407 East Chapin and set a public hearing for February 2nd, 2026.
Support.
Support. I'd like to say I went to that commission meeting too, and there was a lot of support in the neighborhood for this change. So, but we'll have that public hearing.
Yes, I can see this house from my office window. So, and yeah, the neighborhoods, the Dubrovics included, were very supportive. So,
Councilmember Allenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
yes.
French?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item is a request, again, to adopt a resolution that introduces an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to conditionally rezone property located at 620 Arthur Street, 620 Arthur Street, and to set a public hearing for February 2nd. This is requesting rezoning from R2 to residential multifamily 1.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution to introduce ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to conditionally rezone property 620 Arthur Street and set a public hearing for February 2nd, 2026.
Support.
Councilmember Allenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This last one is similar yet a little different. This too is requesting the adoption of a resolution that introduces an ordinance to vacate a portion of Wall Street and reserve a public utility easement in favor of the city and setting a public hearing for March 2nd, 2026. The reason why this is different is because of the need to publish at different intervals, and that's why the public hearing isn't being asked to be set for February 2nd, but rather being set for the next regularly scheduled meeting after that February 2nd meeting, which is March 6th, or excuse me, March 2nd, 2026. And this item is in reference to the Lakeland development project and was held back till now.
I'd make a motion to adopt the resolution to introduce ordinance to vacate a portion of Wall Street and reserve a public utility easement in favor of the city and set a public hearing for March 2nd, 2026.
Support. Councilmember Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
French? Yes. Ellenboss?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, members of the City Council, if I may continue rolling down. Next item is adoption of ordinances and resolutions. I'm going to punt this to our Finance Director, Owen Roberts.
Yep, so this is just a small budget amendment to accommodate the changes made to the city manager contract tonight. The 9% increase is an overall salary increase of about $10,800 per year. And there are also some additional benefits that will be required because they are based on a percent of that salary. So overall, estimated it'll be an additional cost of about $14,000 per year. And obviously we're 5.5 months into a fiscal year, so we don't need to do the amendment for all of that. But I would request a budget amendment. So on the second page of the resolution under item number 1, the dollar amount just had X's in there pending what the council did tonight in terms of action. So I would request that number to say $8,500.
Can I make a comment or ask a question?
Sure.
You already had wrapped into the 26 budget a 4% increase for Marcus?
Yeah, I think it was 4 or 3.5, whatever the non-union had gotten, and that was just a projection.
So this will be on
budget
top
year.
of that because, correct, I mean.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
okay, I just want to clarify
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
So 8,500 would replace the X's there,
Yes.
to be clear.
Yeah, you say replace the X's, but I don't
Under
see
number
the X
1 on
numbers.
page 2 of the resolution, now therefore
Okay.
the city council resolves, and then number 1, the last part of the paragraph there just has a placeholder with X's. Do you see that?
Okay. I
Yep.
got you now. Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
8,500.
8,500.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. As we all
Yes.
Motion to
sit here.
adopt resolution amending General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026.
Where to read it. I'll support that. Councilmember Ingalls?
Yes.
French? Yes. Ellenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
No.
Okay. That does conclude, I think, all of my items, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we will move on to the minutes and reports of boards and commissions.
And Mr. Mayor, these are part of the packet traditionally for public reference and reference for council. There is no action for council to take.
I know occasionally I have things to say about these, but not this time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We will move on to public comments. I'll go ahead and open public comments. Please remember, we are limited to 3 minutes.
Conrad S. Aspen Street, Cadillac. I'm going off the cuff. Some of you are going to be scared I'm doing it. But Mayor Powell, thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement that this community is split, and the community is split mainly because of Marcus Pecha. Thank you. To the rest of you who voted to give him a raise, I'm upset. I don't think it was warranted. And I think there needed to be a proper evaluation. To the issue of targets, people thought my original thing up here was coming out of left field somewhere. Ruth Ann French knows all of it. In fact, some of that evidence in there is Ruth Ann French herself writing it. She broke the law. She should not have voted tonight, and she needs to be taken off council. And as far as blaming Marcus for things, he's in charge of the city. If he doesn't discipline his person that screwed up a sidewalk, if he doesn't discipline his person who plowed incorrectly, that's Marcus's fault. I blame Marcus. It's not my job to go find some city employee, Marcus. And council, it's your job to hold him accountable. And you haven't been for a long time. Thank you, Mayor Powell. Thank you.
Thank you. Conrad?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your logic in your decisions. So I was gonna say the evaluation process is supposed to result in a pay increase. That's how it works in the rest of the world. So that needs to be like back on track, but this should be your raise for this year, because I'm sure you'll have people bringing that up. And my question to, okay, so all of you guys work for the citizens of Cadillac. All of you guys too, okay? Every employee works for the citizens. And if you are not serving the people, then who are you serving? Okay. The PFAS grants need to be overseen by a separate group of people, not anybody that works for the city. And I would like to, I don't know if I can just suggest people, but I'd like to suggest Bill Barnett and Susan Giftos to get together a team. They're the two that have worked the hardest on this. Brian Warner did a lot with the grants, and honestly, the LDFA should not be involved in that process at all, as a whole. For various members have had legal issues with, you know, keeping records and violating different laws and stuff. So, that's that. I think also going forward on a different subject, the boards that represent the city should be comprised of citizens, not people that live 10, 20, 30 miles away that come here, make decisions that affect us that do live here, and then they just go home somewhere else. I understand they own businesses here, and that's important, but it's second to living here. So that's basically it. And Marcus, everyone knows you didn't do the grants yourself, and that you stalled everything, and that Herring Township had their grant money way before Cadillac did. And I don't know if you want credit for discovering electricity too. That's all I have.
Thank you, Carla.
Paula Myers, and I did say I did not live in the city. My husband owns a business in the city, and I've never had to defend my integrity, but I am. And Mr. Lindell is a customer of my husband's. He doesn't know that because he does not know me. I am not a plant by any stretch of the imagination. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about what I see on social media, which has torn our city apart more than anything I can think of. I wish it hadn't happened, but it did. And for people outside the city looking at our social media, I'm sorry. And also, for Mr. Lindell, not only is he a customer of my husband's, but my husband's brother has a monument etched, his name etched in a pudding stone in front of the band shell. So I'm invested in this city. I don't live in it, but I'm invested in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mike Coy. I'm a resident homeowner here in the city. Thank all of you for serving. Congratulations on your election. What I basically want to say is thank you. You've discussed Marcus's salary and you've made a decision. But I personally think he made a really good case for receiving a raise that would be comparable to other city managers in our region. So I think he just made a good case for it. I also want to mention that I don't think the timing was bad. To me personally, you should ask for a raise anytime as long as you can make a good case for it. I don't care if it's here business, but if you can make a good case why you should receive a higher salary, you should present it. I also don't think it was inappropriate, the timing of when it was in the agenda. Things are added to the agenda at the last minute. You don't always need to vote on them, but they're added. I saw in the paper last week Marcus was going to be requesting a pay increase. I went to the city website, brought up the agenda, and I was able to read the packet. I read all the information Marcus presented, every bit of it, and I think he made a good case, so I just want to mention that. I also want to mention how respected he is around the state of Michigan. The work he does with the MEDC, I've sat in meetings, he's clearly respected. I've been in meetings, regional meetings here in northern Michigan, other communities, he's well respected. And I think his longevity is important too. And I think that should be considered and rewarded in the future because his longevity is very, very important. A comment was made or a suggestion that there should be an advisory committee regarding his salary. I think that's a senseless idea. This is a decision that should be made always by the five of you based on the information that's presented. You certainly can let the public know your reasons for giving a raise or not giving a raise. In fact, I think a lot of the discussion should be behind closed doors. Working in business, I never had coworkers around when I requested a pay increase from my supervisors. My coworkers and others weren't there. So that's pretty much what I want to say is I think he made a good case and consider that in the future, his longevity. And, people have grievances, I get it, but we hear the same grievances again and again and again by the same people. And maybe they need to move forward. One other thing was mentioned, just utilities. Number of you are newer on the council. I personally, as a resident, believe that our city utility rates should be raised annually. Doesn't have to keep up with inflation depending on what's needed or not needed, but I just think that's one of the things that we have a phenomenal sewer water system, and we never ever want to get ourselves in a pickle that other communities have gotten in.
That's been
So-
3 minutes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
My name's Michelle Trivieri. I'm a resident of Cadillac. I've been here for 38 years. And first of all, thank you. This evening it was an interesting meeting. Congratulations on everybody. Personally, I've known Ruth Ann for 30 years. We were colleagues at the DNR. She has an incredible reputation. And I just want to say back to the DDA moving forward, I think the Cadillac Commons is the crown jewel of our city. when I have company coming in from Seattle, New York, and different places, even Traverse City, they're like, wow, this place has really grown. It really is a nice place to bring people, all the concerts, the farmers markets, the art festival. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the DDA is going to go with it. And congratulations to Travis. And so you guys keep doing a great job. And I'm not a plant. I want to be here. Nobody's asking me to be here.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
We're garden. We're garden.
Seeing no one else, we'll close public comment. We can go ahead and good to the order.
If I may just start off, I want to say I'm humbled and thank everybody on City Council for your good debate and consideration of my requests. I know that it's not necessarily a fun item to discuss in a public forum where you've got an audience and cameras and everything else, but I appreciate all of you. I respect all of you, and I'm really looking forward to all that our new year has to offer. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for what you do.
I'm looking forward to working with everybody going forward and collaborating with the evaluation process and getting that back on track.
I said enough. I got not enough.
So now we need.
Well, I appreciate the discussion we had tonight, the open discussion. This was the first time I've had
I think
to go through this
I agree
process.
with you. I think
And
it was overall a good thing.
yeah, and I think it was.
Something we haven't done in a long time here.
Yes, and we need to have. I can see the benefit of having open discussions in the public, for the, and it's just a good thing for everybody to express their opinions, and so I appreciate that. I'd also, being this now my official swearing in moment, like to thank those 827 people who did vote for me, but I just want to say I'm here for everybody, including Mr. Ish, to be his representative as his ward representative, and so I appreciate the 53% of the vote that I received, and just want to thank everybody for their presence that come to meetings, but know that you're a small microcosm of the greater city that we all represent. So thank you again. I'm honored to be able to be a council member.
Let me close good to the order.
Yes, there's no official closing.
Okay.
We're just moving on. We do have the one item regarding closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to consider material exempt from the discussion or disclosure by statute under MCL 15.268H, specifically identified as attorney-client privileged written legal opinions. Invite Owen Roberts, Director of Finance, and Jeff Dietland, Director of Utilities, accordingly.
Roll call, real quick.
Councilmember French? Yes. Allenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
I just emailed you.
I had no idea.
to open session.
Councilmember Ellenboss?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
We're
Mr.
waiting
Mayor,
on-
there being nothing further to discuss, be appropriate to adjourn?
Meeting adjourned. Fantastic.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.